Hare Krishna. So we'll start with the prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Nidhinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve
Hare Krishna.
Gauravani Pracharine
So we'll start with the
Nirvishesha
prayers.
Shunyavadi
Om
Bhasha Jnananjanashalakaya Ashadadeshadharine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So today we'll just go through the whole chapter, second chapter, in summary. So this second chapter is a succinct overview of the Gita's philosophy. We saw in the first chapter, Arjuna put forth various reasons for not fighting, uh, can be remembered by the C, D, E, and F. And then at the end of the first chapter, he said that I'll not fight. Right. So he was determined not to fight, but simultaneously torn and confused. So Arjuna approached Krishna in desperation and he said that I need your guidance. He humbly submits. Please enlighten me so I can mitigate my miserable condition. Right. So the chapter begins with Arjuna's situation where Sanjay is speaking, Tamtaya Kripya Vishtamashtu Purna Kolekshanam. So Arjuna is full of compassion, very sorrowful, eyes brimming with tears, and then he reached out to Krishna, who is addressed as Uvacha Madhusudana. Krishna is addressed as Madhusudan. So Prabhupada explained that why Krishna has been described by this word or addressed by this word Madhusudan, because Madhusudan means he's the killer of the demon Madhu. So Prabhupada explains that Arjuna also expect Krishna to kill the demon of misunderstanding. And Prabhupada explains in the purport that material compassion, lamentation, and tears are all signs of ignorance of the real self. So this is a wonderful lesson for all of us. Compassion, though it's a great noble quality, but compassion for the dress of the drowning man is considered as ignorance. It's a sign of ignorance. Right. So Krishna kind of take little strong stand and he says, Kutastu akashmalamidam vishme samupasthitam anarajustam ashvargyam akirtikaram Arjuna. And then you can stop sharing your screen. It is not needed here. Mm. So Krishna is saying that from where all these impurities has come upon you, you are a Kshatriya, you are not supposed to talk like that. You should know all the progressive values of life. This kind of behavior, it does not lead to the higher planets. So Krishna condemns Arjuna by following word that you are acting like a non-Aryan, non-Kshatriya, like impotent, very strong word, and weakness of heart you are showing, and all of that. So this is how the chapter begins, and then Arjuna further explains the Arjuna's further doubts and confusions. And finally, the indecision, Arjuna says that I don't know what should I do, whether I should fight or I should not fight. So I'm in a complete confused state. And that is when Karpanya Doshopatha Swavava Prachami Tvam Dharma Sammoda Cheda. I'm confused about my dharma, about my duties. So Shishyasteham Shadimam Tvam Prabannam. So I am just now soul surrender into you. Krishna, I accept you as my teacher, as my spiritual teacher. Please guide me. Right. So this is how this material world is designed. Prabhupada explained that by nature's own way, the complete system of material activities is a source of perplexity for everyone. Whatever you do, you will invariably fall into this state of perplexity. Right. So this is how this material world is designed. It is like Sometimes there is a fire in the forest, nobody goes and set the fire, but without being set by anyone, there is a fire. So this is the situation of this material world. It is designed to put one into perplexities. And the whole idea of this Vedic wisdom is that how to solve these perplexities of life and to understand the signs of the solution. So for that, the first principle is guru. One should go to a bona fide guru who is coming in the disciplic succession and submit and surrender there. So the whole Bhagavad Gita, the second chapter contains 72 verses, which can be described by this acronym called Gita, Gita. So first to 10 verses is G, which is Guru. Go and surrender to Guru. When you are perplexed, you are confused, you are in doubt, you don't know what to do. And Arjuna was confused to the extent that he was saying, even if I win this kingdom, I don't know whether I'll be happy or satisfied with all of that. So his need was something else, right? It is just like a person is hungry, then he can't be satisfied with a beautiful garland you offer. So there is a physical gratification, but it cannot solve the problem of emotional level. So Arjuna was emotionally torn apart at this point, right? And then he says, okay, I'll not fight. And at that point, Krishna smiles and he spoke. And then in the second section, starting from the text 11 to 30, which we call I in Gita. So first section is G for Guru. Second section is I, which is identity. So Krishna start to introduce this concept of the different identity, which is beyond the identity of this material covering, material body. And he want to take him into the different level of understanding. So this is what begins. First, Krishna chastised Arjuna, and then he introduced this concept of that you are someone beyond this bodily designation. You are not the body, you are the soul. And then Krishna in detail gives the series of verses which describe the characteristic of soul. So soul's individuality is established, and then transmigration of soul has been explained. Kaumaram, Yavanam, Jara, from childhood to youth to old age, how the soul transmigrate from one body to another body, and tada dehantara praptir, and the death again it transmigrate from completely new body, right? So all the changes will come. One should learn to tolerate. So this principle of tolerance has been described in 2.14. It's a very, very powerful principle that we should learn and we should practice. Tolerate the dualities, right? We can still feel the pangs of the body despite all the knowledge theoretically. So unless we reach this state of self-realization, so Krishna says, okay, just tolerate till then, right? And tolerate for what? For some higher cause. Higher cause is spiritual life. So when your goal is clear, you have some higher goal, then you can tolerate, right? And one who is not disturbed by all this dualities, happiness and distress, then he is eligible for liberation. And Krishna goes on explaining that soul has no cessation, soul is indestructible, soul is eternal, immeasurable, can't be killed when the body is killed. Soul never takes birth, never die. It is just like changing the clothes. It cannot be cut, it cannot be burned, it cannot be dried, it cannot be moistened. It is unbreakable, it is insoluble, and like this in detail, he gave the characteristic of soul. And finally, Krishna conclude this section by explaining that, Anjata Shri Dhruvor Matyu Dhruvam Janma Mritasya Cha Tasmat Apariyararthe Na Tum Sochitum Arhasi. One who has taken birth, death is certain, and one who is dead, birth is certain. So in the unavoidable discharge of your duty, you should not lament. So this is the knowledge, right? And after that, when you understand that your identity, you are not the body, you are the soul, then what you are supposed to do in that identity. So Krishna introduced the third section here in the acronym Gita, Guru, identity, and the third thing is T. T means the two duties. Krishna explains the two duties here, uh, that one may ask that how all this knowledge practically affects our day-to-day life in the real world. So Krishna says, okay, you should understand your dharma properly, your duties. So dharma loosely translate as duty, but in a deeper sense, the dharma refers to intrinsic characteristic and qualities of something that cannot be avoided. Right. So that is what is the real dharma. So now the dharma doesn't it does depend on how do you think, what do you think you are. If you think you are body, then your dharma is different. But you think that you are not the body, you're something beyond the body as a soul, then your dharma is different. So these are two different dharmas, two duties. One is called the swadharma, which is like a conditional duties. You think you're the body, you're a mother, father, husband, you're a brahmana, kshatriya, or whatever you think in the bodily designation. So then you act accordingly, and that is also a recommended way, one ashram dharma, and you do that duty in day-to-day life. And then once you understand that you are someone who's beyond this body, you're the soul, part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, then you understand your real constitutional duty, which is called Sanatana Dharma. So two duties are Swadharma and Sanatana Dharma. So Krishna described in this section, first he described this conditional duty based on your functional identity, and then Krishna actually educate Arjuna that you are a Kshatriya, and as being a Kshatriya, your dharma is to fight, right? And just by fighting and by doing this duty of a Kshatriya, you will attain the perfection. And you will, and he also kind of shows him that destination. If you win, then you will enjoy the unrivaled kingdom. And if you lose, then still you'll go to heavenly planets. But if you don't do your duty, if you fail to perform your duty, then still sin will incur you for neglecting your duties. And then also in addition, infamy will come, your reputation will be spoiled, you'll get the criticism. Those great generals who always glorified you, they will consider you as a coward, and oh, you ran away from the battlefield, and like that all bad reputation will come, and then many enemies, they'll speak many ill words of you. So better you do your duty as a Kshatriya. Either you're killed, then you will attain the heaven, and if you win, then you enjoy this kingdom here, right? And therefore get up and fight. Kratanishchaya, determination, you should fight. So he explains, and after that, Krishna also introduced as a constitutional duty. Okay, at this level, if you are confused, then you should understand what is your constitutional duty. So then Krishna introduced here at 2.39, Buddhi Yoga, Nishkam Karma Yoga. Prabhupada explained this Buddhi Yoga as the Krishna consciousness, as a Bhakti Yoga. So how to do that? Perform your duties, but with detachment and without any reaction. Aisheta Vihita Sankhya Buddhi Yoga Tuimam Shunu. Buddhya Yukto Yaya Partha Karma Bandhan Prahashyasi. So like that, he introduced this Buddhi Yoga at this point. And in detail, he explains. So basically, Krishna gives the various characteristics of Buddhi Yoga, that it will set you free from the bondage of work. Sorry, first he explains what are the characteristics of Buddhi Yoga, that freedom from bondage of work, there's no loss or diminution on this path. It saves one from the greatest dangers. Swalpam apiyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. And how one should practice Buddhi Yoga. One should be Vyavsayatmika Buddhi, resolute determination, and then freedom from. So, like that, he explains. We are not getting into the detail. And then also, Krishna explains in this section the characteristics of practicing this Buddhi Yoga. Somebody says, if I practice this Buddhi Yoga, what will be my gain? What I'll achieve? So, Krishna gives some benefits, some characteristics. Some benefits are that it will, you will be free from the good and bad reactions, you will get free from the cycle of birth and death. You will be indifferent of Vedic rituals, and then finally, you will attain Achala Buddhi. Achala Buddhi means the realization of relationship with Krishna, that you are part and parcel of Krishna, and you will fix your intelligence unto Krishna. So that is what you can achieve by practicing this Buddhi Yoga, which is in practice, it is Krishna consciousness or Bhakti Yoga. And then finally, you'll go back to Godhead. Brahma Nirvana Mrichyati. So this is what is the benefits of Bhakti Yoga. So Krishna is encouraging, inspiring Arjuna by explaining all these details. So at this point, after hearing all this uh, detail, so Arjuna has another question, and that what are the characteristics of a person who has the Achala Buddhi, whose intelligence is fixed, and that person is addressed here as Sthit Pragya. So this is Sthit Pragya section. So this is the last section of this chapter in our acronym today, Gita. First section is for Guru. Go to the Guru when you are in a confused state. and then you understand your identity, and based on your identity, find out your duty, your dharma, the two identity. So GIT and then A, Atmarama. Atmarama, like one who is already in the stage of samadhi, right? The self-realized person. So Arjuna asked the question, Sthit pragyasya ka bhasha samadhistasya keshava, sthitatim kim pravasheta kim asita brajeta kim. And then Krishna goes on explaining prajhati yada kaman, that he has given up all kinds of desire which born out of the mind. So the sthit pragya, the person who has the fixed intelligence, he is completely fixed up in that kind of consciousness, and then he's equipoised in happiness and distress, is free from attachment, fear, and anger, and then unaffected by good and evil, and firmly fixed in perfect knowledge. These are some of the characteristics which Krishna described in detail. We are discussing in short summary here. And then he also explained that how does a sthit pragya, the person, how does he sit, how he is situated in this material world. So he restrains his senses. He uses only as much as needed for the save of the Lord, and then he restrains the senses, like the analogy is given of the tortoise. So how much ever is needed, he comes out and then he remains under the protective shell, right? So this is the example given. And then how he can restrain the senses, it's very difficult to restrain the senses, to control the senses. So because Krishna explained that he's experiencing the higher taste, param drashtva nivardhate. So once when we experience the higher taste, then easily you can give up the lower taste. That is the only way to restrain the senses. Otherwise, it's very, very difficult artificially, right? So one should learn to control the senses. If we don't know how to control the senses, and if we have not developed the higher taste, we have not become Krishna conscious sufficiently, then one can easily fall down. Even the great personalities can fall down. Uh, Yatato hi abhikantaya purushasya vipashchita indriyani pramatini. Even the great, saintly people. And Prabhupada gives the example of Sobri Muni and the Vishwamitra and all that. So nobody is escaped, nobody is exempted. One should not think, oh, now I've been practicing for so long. Looks like now I can control my senses. I understood everything. No, one should not be in that illusion. It is all by Krishna's grace. Should we keep praying and keep trying to become more and more Krishna conscious? And that is the only hope, that we remain protected. Otherwise, anytime Maya can sweeps us away. So this is the power of the senses, right? Even the wise are distracted from this, by the senses, and it is only possible matparaha. It is possible only by devotion to our Lord Krishna. So like that. Otherwise, one will fall down, and then Krishna explains the process of fall down, which is the ayato vishan pumsha sangaste subhajayate. Somebody start contemplating too much on sense gratification, sense objects. Then gradually attachment develops, and from there, the anger comes, and then buddhi bhramshat buddhi nasho, smriti bhramshat buddhi nasho, and then buddhi nashat pranashati. So contemplation, attachment, then lust, and then anger, then delusion, and then bewilderment of memory, loss of intelligence, and finally the person fall down. So this is the danger. So one sense is also start contemplating on sense objects, we can fall. Okay, so Krishna explains all this in details, and also he explained that while engaging the senses, how he engages the senses is Sthit Pragya, a spiritually advanced person. He does with regulations and religious principles. So we should make sure that whatever we do, it should be as per the scriptures and in a regulated fashion. When we eat, we should eat in a regulated way and with the religious principles. So we should offer to the Lord and eat, and how to eat in a regulated fashion. So like that. And once you practice this, then we attain the prasad, the complete mercy of the Lord by that. And then when we attain the mercy of the Lord, then this threefold miseries no longer exist, and then we become prasanna chetaha. We becomes happy within, and then our intelligence is also soon well established. And then Krishna also warns that if you don't attain, if you does not you do not attain this consciousness, which is Krishna consciousness or sthit pragya state, then there's no happiness and peace. So unless we become Krishna consciousness artificially, no matter how much and whatever ways we try, we can never become happy and peaceful, right? So Krishna explained that. And even the one sense which is uncontrolled, agitated, can carry away the intelligence of the most intelligent person, right? So that is how. then the nature of senses, and then also he explained that what is day for a common man is a night for sthit pragya, and what is night for uh, the common man is the day for sthit pragya. So like that he explains, and finally Krishna concludes this chapter by explaining that how this sthit pragya, a spiritually advanced person and truly Krishna conscious person, is unagitated by desires. Nobody can check the desires, nobody can stop the desires. Desires are like the constant flow of rivers, constantly keep coming in. So we should not think, oh, I should become free from desires. We cannot become free from desires. But what we can do is our consciousness we can expand like the ocean, apuryamanam, achala pradishtam. We can expand our consciousness like a big ocean. As the ocean is not agitated by uh, inflow of incessant flow of the various rivers. In the same way, a self-realized person is not disturbed by the incessant flows of desires. Right? He can remain calm. So this is the secret given here, right? And then he is free from all the desires, and then finally, the sthit pragya, he attains Brahma Nirvanam Shati. So once we attain that state of consciousness, then finally we can enter into the kingdom of God. So these are the concepts that Krishna very beautifully explained and summarized in the chapter, and this is called the Gita summarized. So we'll be seeing in the going forward in the next chapters. Krishna will elaborate some of those concepts. So the third chapter will be starting tomorrow with Karma Yoga. Okay, so this is the short